everybody. Welcome back to the Damn Yankees podcast, produced by Seven Ashes Productions. It is Monday, March 11th, sorry. And this is episode 39.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry. Hi. Hi. Do you have something to say? You look like you have something to say.
Well, usually you introduce us.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I'm really distracted.
I'm just thrown for a loop. I don't know what I'm doing now.
Well, okay. No, I'm Megan. That's my brother Ryan. And over here is our baseball dummy Cliff.
Yeah, and why do you got to keep calling me the baseball dummy?
Well, you ask questions like, why do you play one team 2 days in a row?
It's been a while since I've asked that question.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Maybe
so if for the 5 people that watch us and listen to us,
I'm pretty sure we get.
We had this.
Sometimes we get like 20 views.
That's true. That's true.
We're
Megan was very concerned that
people are
Megan's very concerned that people are going to think that her and her brother are just mean to me by calling me the baseball dummy. But I'd suggested calling me the baseball dummy because I'm not. I wasn't a baseball fan when we met and we got together.
Look at you, all decked out in Yankee style.
Yep.
We're getting LG there.
To the shame of my family.
Shame of your
the shame of my family, who are residents of Maine and Massachusetts and other parts of New England.
Converted you to the better side.
Slowly but surely, LG will be there too.
Yes, she is. She goes to games. She asks questions. She listens to other podcasts too.
Yeah, she started watching John Boy, and she said he's very boring.
Yeah. Hopefully,
but she never says that about us. So,
to her. Yeah. We must be super entertaining. Yeah.
Well, it's because she's already tuned us out. So this is me just keeping it light because it's been otherwise just doom and gloom around here.
Yes. Well, yeah. So we can get to the first thing we thought was really the only thing we were going to be talking about today was Peraza's injury. He was announced, I don't know, a couple days ago at this point that Peraza.
Yeah. It was shortly after we shot last week, It was like last Wednesday or Friday or Saturday.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's been some time. And I guess he had been having trouble with his shoulder, which might be why we haven't been seeing him in games. They claimed that was why he was sent for the MRI in the first place, and they had a strain in his shoulder. So he's out for 6 to 8 weeks. And so I
won't see him until May at the earliest.
Yeah, I have my doubts that he was going to be included in the bench in the first place because he wasn't really being talked about as part of their plans. He wasn't getting put in any lineups. Maybe he wasn't being put in lineups because he was having this lingering injury. Column A, column B, I don't know. But when I first heard about him going to get an MRI before they told us about like what the actual injury was, I kind of was like, is this their answer to not?
Yeah, I think your first message to me was Phantom IL.
Yeah, I was like, is this true or is this Phantom? Because he only has one option. They haven't really talked about him, and like I said, in their plans, and just seems like they don't really know what to do with him. And so if he was on the IL, then they don't have to make that decision right now. But I don't know, the 6 to 8 weeks being out with a shoulder strain, and I don't know, it feels after that, I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not really Phantom then. And
yeah,
feels a little bit more real. And so yeah, I mean, that sucks for Peraza. I would always have said like he should just be traded so he can play on a team that'll actually play him. We can get something that we need out of him. But yeah, so that was the Peraza news. Did you have anything to add with the Peraza news?
I mean, as far as news, no.
Right,
but
not
like
news,
what is the team going to do? I mean, maybe that was already part of the questions. I think one of the things that is interesting, we heard about it, we talked about it last week with Kiki Hernandez. I think Kiki Hernandez basically said that the Yankees and the Dodgers were the only 2 teams that were really going after him, and he ultimately decided to go to the Dodgers.
We were a little surprised that the Yankees were even in that mix.
Yeah, we didn't know that was there. And then Urshela, who had already been signed at that point, he had signed with the Tigers for $1.5 million. It's also been, quite well documented that the Yankees were interested in him, but I guess they did not really want to match the 1.5 that the Tigers offered. And then they also were after Ahmad Rosario. They actually offered him more money than the Rays did. They offered him $4 million, but of course the Rays, given their lack of shortstop for reasons we can't talk about here without being demonetized,
Yeah.
they were able to offer him starting position opportunities, I think, more than the Yankees would have. And so I think, as much as I have not heard the Yankees going after some of the other free agents on the market, which they aren't big names. I think the biggest name is Jonathan Scoops, who I think that's how you say his name. He played for, I think he played for Baltimore and the Tigers. I know he played for the Tigers. I think he's has the biggest WAR from last season of those remaining infielders. There is also Evan Longoria, who's a bit more of a veteran, but he can't play short. But you do got Cabrera in there for that. And then the one who I think is a potential is Alberto Mondesi. Played shortstop for the Red Sox. I don't know if he played for anybody else, but he's 28 years old. He probably is pretty cheap as far as an infield replacement, someone who's been in Major League Baseball, if they don't want to go the other route and promote a current minor leaguer that we have on roster, which I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about him.
Yeah, I mean, we have Vivas, who has shown some, I don't know.
Shown some pop at the plate.
Yeah. And, but, I mean, nothing out of this world, or I don't know if, before Peraza was injured, I felt like he had a chance. I don't know what I kicked. Oops. I felt like he had a chance to break camp because Peraza just wasn't.
He was playing more than Peraza for sure that at the beginning of the season too.
Yeah. And the game we went to, he had lots of offensive production.
And I think he's looked pretty good with the glove too. And for anybody who doesn't know, Vivas is the guy who we got in the trade where we sent basically in order for the Dodgers to be able to officially sign Shohei Ohtani. They had to clear some space, and so we sent Trey Sweeney, and we got Vivas and Victor Gonzalez, who's one of our rotation bullpen pieces. So we only just got him, and I think people kind of just expected he was the future for Torres if he happened to walk. But his time in pinstripes might be coming sooner than later. So yeah, I think Vivas is probably the way that's going to go, but I would not be surprised if they do go after some type of veteran. Again, if I were a betting person of who's remaining, it would be Mondesi. Just because he can fit a bench place pretty well at a price that wouldn't break the bank. I know that they're kind of in that luxury tax issues.
Yes.
But
everything will cost, they say, 110% or something like that. At least double. Whatever they sign for, it'll cost them twice whatever they sign for.
Right. So, but if that's, that they're signing a guy for $1 million, that's not, not.
Right. It's not too bad if it's $2 million.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But anyway, so I don't know if there's much else really to say here with that.
Yeah,
it's either Vivas or it's a free agent signing because there is nobody else. There's nobody else currently on the 40-man roster. We were just looking today other than him, unless they are planning
the non-roster invitees and maybe somebody, but I haven't heard of any other breaking unless I'm completely missing something.
None have been really all that great. Kevin Smith hasn't been playing great. Van Meter hasn't, he's played in some games, but it hasn't been all that impressive.
Sure. So it just leads me to believe that it had to either be somebody from the 40 man or maybe free agent, if that, and by them looking at least casually at other free agent infielder utility people, then
yeah.
suggests that might be the way they're leaning.
Yeah, and one of the points too, I guess, that I was making with all these situations, Urshela, Hernandez, and Ahmad Rosario, we only knew about Urshela, and that's only because he was connected to the Yankees before, and a lot of the fans wanted him, and so I think that's why that rumor hit outward, because you know he was there, but we didn't know about that they were interested in trying to sign Ahmad Rosario or Kiki Hernandez until either they themselves or somebody in their camp, or I think Joel Herman is the one who said that the Yankees offered Ahmad Rosario $4 million. So maybe we're just not hearing about some of those, and so I guess my point is I wouldn't be surprised to see a veteran signing, so that Vivas is not jumping right up right away, because I think he only has one option left. So
that's right. Yeah, we looked last week.
Now they can bring him up as an injury replacement. So if
right,
it's like those don't count as options. So given that Peraza will be on the IL, if he were to be dropped immediately dropped back down to the minor leagues for Peraza coming back off of IL, then it wouldn't count as an option. But at least I'm pretty sure that's how that works. If I'm wrong,
I think you're right.
But I'm pretty sure.
I think you're right. I remember that being explained. There's always little caveats to all these.
Yeah, always
little moves.
We've talked about it before. MLB is weird when it comes to these things. But anyway, so we kind of talked about it where Peraza was supposed to be the big news.
See. Yeah, and we'll see how the bench shakes out over the next, I think they said we have 17 days of spring training left, something like that.
And hopefully going on Friday to watch
nice.
this upcoming game. So maybe we'll see a little bit. Nice. Maybe I'll see a little bit there.
Yeah, that'd be cool to report back. So on to the bigger news that has dominated the last 12 hours of our Monday, at least. Gerrit Cole was reportedly having an MRI on his throwing elbow.
Yeah, it was
it is never ever anything you want to hear from your ace or about your ace, especially or at any point, but during spring training when you have a shaky roster already. So,
it's not a.
So it's kind of all we really know.
Yeah, it's not a really good situation for sure. But yeah, I think what we know is they said, I think from the Yankees organization side of things, I don't know if it was Cashman or if it was Boone or it was a combination of the two or whatever, basically said that they're not too worried, or how do they put it, that they're not overly concerned with.
They kept using this is precautionary, and they're not overly concerned with him missing a long time. Something to that effect.
Which I am very worried when the Yankees start saying that, because we all know that the Yankees organization last year, we talked about it, that they were not overly concerned or worried about the left field situation. They were not overly concerned with Rizzo. IKF playing shortstop, Rizzo, being beat in the head,
getting injured and not looking right. Oh, we're not overly concerned. He's fine.
He's just seeing double when he's swinging. It's fine.
Big deal. He feels tired all the time. Doesn't really know where he is.
Coach says it's fine to bleed from the ears.
Yeah, it's cool. This is completely normal. Get on the field and rub some dirt on it. Why don't you?
So when they say stuff like that, that gives me panic.
Yes, it is. I want to believe what they say to add a little fuel to this fire. Aaron Judge was pulled from yesterday's game, Sunday's game, after 2 at-bats. Typically, the starters get 3 at-bats. before they're pulled.
Especially now.
Sometimes not. Yeah.
But especially
Right.
now,
Especially now.
mid
Early in
spring
spring.
training. Yeah.
Early mid spring training. We're still, where you should be kind of, the gears should be running. Grease is,
Yeah.
moving, whatever. You know what I mean? They should be well oiled at this point, kind of, at least as far as spring goes, to start, consistently taking 3 at bats in a game and wanting to play more.
Instead, they're dropping.
Instead, Judge was pulled out of the lineup after 2 at bats. There was a video that went around that kind of showed him kind of grimacing after a swing, and then kind of stretching out an oblique area. So who knows? That could
Which
be what
he's
it is.
had
Could
some
be
issues with
completely
the
unrelated.
oblique, but
I've also seen him do this move before in the
Right.
in regular season, where he grimaces and then he kind of pulls one side or whatever, and maybe he's tweaked something then too. But like,
it's
or
spring
maybe it's just
training
something that
too,
he
so he's
does.
not going to play through something if it is a tweak, whereas
Oh,
he
no.
probably
And
would
so-
have in the regular season. So it's hard to
Yeah.
tell with him. But Cole
Yeah,
getting an
and-
MRI is definitely
Much worse.
Yeah.
Much more
more panic.
panicky. Yeah. We all I think last week, I know I had said that the Yankees probably feel pretty good with their rotation. That thought relied heavily on Gerrit Cole being healthy and starting every 5 days, or 5 to 6 days, however that worked out. So there were still questions, and it was like I see positives in the rotation, but I'm very, very concerned about what the results are going to be for Gerrit Cole. Does our producer need a break? He needs more coffee.
Fine.
Okay. So a little more on what we actually do know for Cole's injury. They said he is not recovering properly between starts.
Right.
He feels like he's throwing 100 pitches when he's really, he's only been throwing max about 40, under 50 pitches. The last time he pitched was a few days ago, and he did like a simulated game kind of thing. It was very in a controlled environment. He skipped his start for that, and they made up an excuse of, if you can control the environment, why wouldn't you? And I think everybody was like,
we at least know
I
that
just don't
Boone
want to
is
think
in
anything's
mid-season
wrong.
form.
Oh, for sure, Boone's in mid-season
form. Because going back to the Judge thing, didn't he say something about like when he got pulled, like, oh, we were always going to pull him after 2 starts, and then he didn't even finish
both
his
of them. They said
batting practice or something, or didn't even do batting practice with the team.
Well, yeah. So with Judge, it was he came out after his second at bat. Of course, everybody asked because it's not typical for you, like I said, typical for 3 at bats at this point in spring training. And so they're asked about it afterward, and Boone says, "Oh, that was always the plan. I wanted to get Grisham in there. Talked to him about it before the game." And then Judge kind of says pretty much the same thing. And then Jack Curry, I was like, "Oh, good, thank you so much, Jack Curry." He posted this morning that, basically recapping that was the plan, to get him out after the second at bat. And then he was scheduled for batting practice on this morning, Monday. But
so
at some
I
point
just want to
later
apologize.
on, after we hear about Cole.
I'm sure you are saying really great things because I can't hear anything. So I hope that.
Oh, you're kind of breaking up.
There
too
we go.
You're talking.
Okay, we're back. It was gone for about 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Oh,
like I'm just sitting here, like, yeah, this is great. You look.
Nice. Well, yes, I was saying really great things. I don't know. All I was saying was what happened, and then he wasn't in the line. He was supposed to do batting practice this morning. And then at some point, I think after we were told Cole went to go get an MRI, we were also told, and Judge is not taking batting practice, and he's quote unquote feeling mid-spring beat up. Yep. That was the words. That was the PR move that Boone thought sounded good, I guess.
And now that's on Cole or Judge?
That was Judge.
Okay.
Judge. And so mid-spring beat up, and he won't be in any lineups until Wednesday.
So Wednesday's the big day.
Wednesday's the big day.
Because that's when MRI is coming, right?
You have my permission to freak out. That's when the MRI. Yeah, I guess they also said we were listening to Hoke before the pod that they won't have any answers today. They won't have any answers tomorrow on Tuesday. So hopefully
So hopefully it
Wednesday
means
we
Wednesday.
hear something. So
Yeah.
Wednesday we're gonna
So I guess as far as whether
refreshing
we're not going to panic or
Twitter.
not is going to be.
Find out Wednesday.
Yeah, ask me on Wednesday night.
Yeah. So
because
also what they've
sorry, go ahead.
Because also what they've said is that we all know Cole's a freak. Basically, nobody has said that. Those are my words. And he's really in tune with his body, basically, and that he's
I
probably
think Hoke
just
said
getting
that
ahead of stuff.
it's one of the best parts of his tenure with the Yankees is that he hasn't missed a start outside of having COVID.
Right. So yeah, that's kind of why it wasn't even a question. Of course, he's healthy. He's going to get out there. He's so Mr. Reliable. So hopefully he is. I mean, Nestor kind of said he was concerned. I forget. I know you read the quote too. I forget the first part. I just know the last part was that he said, but yeah, he said it's alarming, right?
Alarming. Yeah, it's alarming.
But then he did end it with, but Cole is so in tune with his body that he's probably just getting ahead of this. And so
hopefully that's the case.
Trying
we'll
to
find
hold
out
on to that
more on Wednesday on both things. So hopefully,
because the worst case scenario, I mean, if you don't realize, worst case scenario is Tommy John. So
and
then we're gone.
That's
we might not see Gerrit Cole until All-Star break next year.
Yeah, that's the year plus some, depending on the pitcher. And Cole's not the youngest pitcher anymore, and not to say that he's old or anything like that, but like I don't think DeGrom tore his DeGrom, who's 36. I think he's 3 years older than Cole. Had Tommy John after a month last year into the Rangers season, and he's not expected back until summer. So
yeah, I think that's kind of typical for pitchers, where you're looking at 18 months just because of how they, it's really,
not like a
you have
player.
To ramp up. Yeah. Right. You're not talking Bryce Harper, who can come back and put armor on his arm, play first base, and doesn't have to throw 100 miles an hour to keep his position. I mean, and Gerrit Cole's, fastball pitcher.
Right.
And so it's a little
right. And on that note too, is that, not only just for the speed, but even break. I mean, there's a lot of movement that has to go into everything. And if it's even just a half an inch off, I mean, that could be the difference between a strikeout and a ball going 450 feet,
Yeah.
So, So, I mean, that's the biggest part of why it takes pitchers so long.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this. Somebody, and I didn't get to read it. It's just now I'm just remembering. There was an article, I don't know if The Athletic put it out. Somebody put an article out about like the amount of injuries that pitchers have been experiencing. And I know players have kind of been yelling about this a little bit, as much as they can, about pitchers' injuries have been high over the last few years, especially I feel like the last couple of years.
Yeah, we're seeing Tommy John, I feel like more and more.
So much. And, I read a little clip of it. So, and I don't even know who put it out. So, I'll have to find it and read it in full. But it was more like, of course, you're having these people throw consistently in the 100 miles an hour, high 90s. And of course, injuries are going to come along with that. So yeah, I don't know. I'll have to read it. It's just, with Gerrit Cole, you never want your ace to go down like this. So I really hope for the best scenario and we're not panicking. But I guess we can look at what does the rotation look like without Gerrit Cole? I guess this is kind of where some of our panic comes from.
Yeah, because I mean, I think last week we were just talking about how things were seemingly to feel better. Like we were worried that if we didn't get a Snell or a Monty or trade for a Cease or whoever, that this rotation was going to be pretty bad. Like if it's only Soto, or not Soto, Stroman.
Only Stroman. Right, only Stroman.
As the addition.
Good. Yeah. I kind of thought that they were showing better outing, but judge that off of like one start.
Yeah. Well, and I think the biggest question mark is how, like with the Yankees rotation, is how many of those slots were question marks. You had a question mark with Rodon. Was he going to He had an ERA over 6 last year. Was he going to be the guy who had a sub 3 ERA again? Could he even just have a sub 4 ERA this year? Like, that was a big question mark with him. Nasty Nestor wasn't so nasty last year. Like, is he going to find some of that back?
Injured.
That's a big question mark. Clark Schmidt started the year last year kind of bad and got a lot better. Is he going to grow on that? It's another question mark. Stroman, I felt like was outside of Cole was the one non-question mark. You kind of just know what you're going to get with him. I think if there was a question mark is how will he handle New York? You're not going to get some high-end ace, but you're going to get a guy who's reliable, who's out pitching every fifth start.
And he should be your reliable number 3, and they keep the rotation moving, and he's done he's shown that in spring basically. Right. He's had all of his starts have been really good. I forget what his last start was, but it was like 4 innings pitched, no hit in 4 innings. I think that's what
I know. It was at least no runs.
Sure. I think he had a no hit 4 innings pitched, something like that. Maybe So he's been doing really well. And so I think only his first start was a little shaky, and I feel like that's to be expected.
Yeah.
And then now, and he's kind of settled in, and so
good.
That's great. And everyone else, though, in the rotation, is a question.
Yeah, and in the rotation too, prior to today, Cole was the only one without a question mark. Cole was again, of course, he hasn't been out since he had COVID. He pitched every start last year. Right. And we had talked about this a lot last year about how if there was no Cole last year, we're an under 500 team easily. Like, not even just under 500. Yeah, I said last year, and I still think it's true, we are the Washington Nationals last year without Cole. Yeah, and not even a good Washington Nationals, because the Washington Nationals are at least young.
Yeah, we were definitely not that. Cole stopped the bleeding.
How many times?
Anytime we were in a streak, we never lost. I think we even talked about it a little bit. We didn't ever lose more than we didn't go on long losing streaks. Until we didn't lose more than 4 or 5 in a row sometimes, because Gerrit Cole always came in and
until, of course,
helped
the
us
big
out.
one. But
right, but
yeah, Cole was for the most part coming in, and I think the only reason why it ended up going 9 games is because Cole in the middle start, like, he shut down the team, but the Yankees got basically no hit, or not maybe no hit, but they got 1 or 2 hits. It wasn't on Cole. And then in the one who ended, I'm pretty sure the one who ended the 9-game winning streak was on his second start during that losing streak was Cole. So the point is that Cole was the one without a question mark. He was the one who was not only our ace, but the one who we relied on, the one who we made sure that the ship was...
The reason I felt comfortable saying, you know what, I don't know if we need Snell. We don't need to do a bad contract just to get Snell. Let's wait till the trade deadline.
Yeah, Soto should be the priority.
Was because of our anchor in our rotation. Without that, it all kind of falls apart. I mean, you're counting on Rodon bouncing back, who... I hope it's just spring. You build up in spring, but he hasn't gotten over 95 miles an hour. I think his last start, he peaked at just over 94 or 93, something like that.
Yeah, and he has even said, I'm not getting the speed I want. And it's
good news is he doesn't seem down about it. He seems confident that he'll find it. His head seems like it's in a good place.
And last year, he was already shut down by this point. And he was complaining about, remember, it was the back. The back all of a sudden was tweaked. Right. And he couldn't do this right.
We haven't heard any
injury stuff with him.
Injury, aches, pains, weirdness going on. So let's hope
similar with Nestor. I think Nestor wasn't too far behind with that, with having issues there. So, I mean, I still think those people are in a good spot, but
Nestor was doing
health-wise.
Nestor's last start, I felt I feel like he didn't do very well. I remember looking at his line and going ooh.
Yeah. There's still a lot of questions, but I do think that the health-wise of those players is good, which gives us positive, but
yes.
It's still without that security of Cole.
Right, you
It's
need these people to
need
step
these
up.
people to step up, and it's like,
Um,
will they do it enough? Because
yeah,
right now, I would say when we've just been talking about it, Stroman has to be opening day starter now. If Cole is shut down, even if it's shut down for whatever
yeah.
for a little
Unless
bit,
they,
it's not
unless,
as long as they expect. Like, yeah,
yeah, unless they do the Yankee thing and treat Rodon as the, he's just next up, because I don't know. We'll see.
yeah. I mean, they
That'd
could
be
do that, and I think that's been most of people's expectation. That's what I've seen most is people saying Rodon's going to be the opening
as
day
far as
starter
who
now.
deserves it.
I think
Yeah,
it's Stroman. Yeah, by far. Stroman has shown that
I
he
do feel
deserves
a
it.
little bad about that, because he was so excited to get his first start in Yankee Stadium, which I think he
He'll
would be
still,
opening.
yeah, he'll still get his
He'll
second
still
start in
start,
Yankee Stadium
yeah, but opening day at Yankee Stadium was
is a
going to be
big deal for
Stroman
him.
based on the way it lined
Yeah,
up, and he mentioned it, and so I'm sure that was, yeah, obviously that's a cool thing. Like, um, yeah, opening day on the road, whatever, but opening day in New York, like that definitely meant something to him. So I feel a little bit bad, but I mean, if he's going to be moving, I hope it would be to the opening day. I don't know. We'll
yeah,
see. The other people that we have, our pitching depth,
yeah. Who's going to
is
replace Cole
like,
now?
yeah, we've got Weaver, Beater, Heel, and Will Warren made a start today. I don't know if that was in like, well, let's see what you got, because I think he's played in 3 games and has only started yesterday. So
Okay,
I didn't remember that he was a starting pitcher, but maybe I'm just blanking.
yeah.
Um,
It sounds
so,
like
but
the
those are
front runner's
that,
beater is what it sounds
yeah,
like,
and he seemed
and
pretty. He pitched well today.
it's not a
Two
bad
innings
idea to
pitch.
replace. Not that we want to replace Cole, but have you
You need to
seen?
find
This
someone.
is just kind of offhand and means nothing about his talent. Dude looks like Cole.
Beater.
Beater.
I
Have
guess
you
so,
seen
a
a
bit.
picture of
Yeah.
him?
Yeah, I have. I think you're right. I didn't put that together,
He
but
just looks like
yeah,
a
he
young Cole.
does.
Not that that means
Yeah.
anything. Not that that means that he should be the
It'll make
guy.
us feel better. No.
But I thought that was funny.
Pretend you're Cole. Yeah,
But yeah, he
he did.
seems to be the leading.
Yeah,
Uh,
he went 2 innings today, 4 strikeouts, so that's cool. And then he was replaced by Heel,
who
and
had a really good.
he went 3.2, 8 strikeouts.
Yeah,
So, right? Did I write that? Yeah, it was like, keep looking back, because wow, yeah, 3.2, 8 strikeouts. So he did really good. Which, if he can get back to what he was before he got injured, like we keep saying, like, they held on to Heel too long and and then he gets injured. But if he could get back to what he looked like and the ceiling that they kind of expected for him, that's really cool. And then our depth is not too bad. I mean, trying to replace Cole is huge shoes to fill,
yeah. I
but we
mean,
do need to
as
find.
what did Billy Bean say in Moneyball that you're, you can't replace someone like
Mm,
Cole. You couldn't replace Johnny Damon, Jason Giambi, and you have to replace them in the aggregate. Which
mm-hmm, mm.
the Yankee nerds I'm sure are all about this right now.
They're running numbers on the computer to see
Yeah,
what we could do to replace our Cy Young award-winning ace.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now most people would say it's time to replace our Cy Young award-winning ace, though, with another Cy Young award-winning ace.
Yeah, and I don't know where I stand on that. I feel like I guess it'll depend on what they say on Wednesday.
Yeah,
If on Wednesday it's like, okay, he just needs to be shut down for a couple of weeks. We slowly bring him back. Yeah, he's going to miss a couple of starts, but not the worst case. Or, oh my God, now we need 5 different opinions just to see if Gerrit Cole has to get Tommy John surgery. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Because
So like
we
we'll
talked about
see.
earlier, with even just signing an infielder, about the
Yeah, the luxury
the
tax is
luxury
going to make
tax
whatever
is,
signing it is.
and that's been the biggest thing when it comes to Snell, even prior to Cole being off the potentially out of the rotation now, is that the Yankees have tried to sign Snell for like deals that would work in the tax brackets, but
Hmm.
Morris wants more.
Yeah, and
And
that money has been allocated to Marcus Stroman. Like, they offered that money before they signed Marcus Stroman. They kind of, I mean, not that they couldn't find more money, but like they offered whatever they offered
They offered Snell first, and then they said,
Snell
okay,
first, and then like, okay, well, we'll just carve some of that out and give it to Marcus Stroman. And so
because you
now
want
they're
too much. And
yeah.
I'm sure the
And
Yankees expected when they went off their Stroman that Snell was going to be an angel. He was going to be a giant or something by now.
sure. I
You
mean,
know,
yeah, and you know, so Boris's comments are also ringing through my ears about the
pitcher panic,
the
pitcher
pitching
crisis,
panic and yeah, it's
whatever it
like
was.
Jesus. I'm sure he's, you know,
Oh yeah, he's
well,
jumping for joy today. He's
yeah, he already got Cole his contract. Doesn't matter anymore.
yeah,
So
yeah. So
um,
and you know, and I know that he's jumping for joy, not necessarily because the Yankees are now going to go and spend the money, but this could even force the Angels to now jump the gun and say
yeah,
before the Yankees can even start to ask questions on
figure out
Wednesday.
what.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, Boris. Yes, Blake Snell. Here's the money you want.
yeah. Very true.
So there's also Monty out there who, not a Cy Young winner, but a former Yankee who is a World Series
Yeah.
champion now.
And there's been no rumors of linking him to no
Anywhere.
credible rumors linking him to New York. I mean, you've had rumors like light rumors.
Oh, sorry.
About
Yes,
Boston
credible rumors about going places, but at this moment, I mean, Boston's pretty much said, you know,
no, not doing anything.
Yeah, not doing anything. Yeah, they're in a similar boat where we talked about it last week with their ace going down, and
yeah.
So
yeah, and they didn't make any moves. They just seem like they're all right with last place this year. So
yeah.
Good job, Boston.
Yeah. Well, and this was going to be one of the things that before all the injury stuff came up that I was going to talk about was, did you see Cora's response or in an interview last week?
Didn't we talk about this, that he like, or maybe we just talked about this texting that yeah,
I don't remember if we talked about it in person or like on the pod or in person. I feel like it molds all together, but basically that, you know, we're not. I'm pretty sure this was over text. We have not talked about it yet.
Yeah, that's what he said. Not everybody
can be the Dodgers. And we were like, well, boy, can you imagine if Boone said that right now? Like, if they said, hey, are you going to go get Snell? Like, you know, you got to make some responses. And he'd be like, not everybody's the Dodgers. So it is what it is. Like oh, boy.
Yeah. And then I guess he follow up to that. He like clarified, or I don't know. It was a shot at the GM, right?
Yeah, it wasn't. He did not clarify that, but like somebody within
other
Boston sports radio or sports talkers were basically saying they were inferring that this was a shot at the GM because Devers, like the week before, kind of said something similar, but his was more direct. Like, what the hell are we doing? I don't even know what we're doing anymore. You know, something along those lines. And so basically they were inferring that nobody right now likes the GM or owner over there. But still, if Boone says that, whether or not that's directed at Hal and Cashman or not, like...
Yeah, I still think he gets dragged. Yeah. It doesn't matter. He's, Yeah. What are you itching to say over here?
Did they perhaps insinuate?
What did I say?
No, Ryan said they inferred.
Oh, geez. Okay, grammar police. Not an English dummy.
I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry, it bugs me.
Yeah, I do remember when we early on when we were dating that I used the words infer and imply correctly, and you I remember you making note of that. You said something, and then I used former and latter correctly in a sentence, and you also made note of that, and I was like, oh boy. So grammar matters to Clifton.
I apologize. Was not trying to offend you, Cliff.
No, it's fine.
He's also cranky because it's daylight savings, and he was up late working on a project last night.
It's an itch in my brain.
Anyway, yeah, so I don't know, the company line right now about Cole and Snell and all of that is that they're not changing gears, they're not going in on Snell. I mean, you know, who knows, you know, this is all you know, they're not going to let it all out that Boris, come
Right. Yeah.
come for
Come
us
steal
because
us.
we really want
Come
to.
steal our money, Boris. Yeah. Here you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was never going to be said. I think I would have been shocked to hear Hoke today be like, "Yeah,
and they've totally
we're
switched gears, and they're.
totally
I
switch
mean, that
gears. We're
would.
going to
Can you
give
imagine
all
the
the money
panic?
into Snell." Like,
Yeah,
oh
imagine.
no.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
stay
they're
tuned
gonna,
for Wednesday, and hopefully we'll have some more
you know,
news then. I mean, we'll talk about it next week. Like we sure definitely have some news by then. Um,
yeah,
I would
yeah.
hope.
So,
So,
well, we talked a lot about of all the negative
all of our fears and
stuff
yeah.
going on, but let's talk about some positives. Soto hit the snot out of a ball last
He
week
hit it onto the Dale
or
Maybury
2 days
Highway.
ago. What,
He hit that ball.
450 yards? I think it was like
Yeah,
448, not yards, 448 feet.
feet.
Like
Yeah,
that was
huge.
a huge home run from him. It's at the fourth this
Think
spring
fourth this
training.
season. Yeah, it's a lot of four football fields.
Yeah, we've been
uh,
pretty impressive.
yeah.
But,
Um,
no, not
but
that
yeah,
far,
I mean,
but
it's
yeah,
still, but still impressive.
Yeah.
You know, not too many people hit it onto the highway. Some people, you know, I've seen Judge hit it out of George Steinbrenner
Mhm.
field, but I don't know if I've ever seen him hit one on the highway that it wasn't in batting practice.
Yeah.
So,
that was
yeah,
was
hit it
exciting.
on the road between George Steinbrenner and the Buccaneers Stadium, right between.
Nice. So
Yeah, I mean it's an impressive. I think that Dale Mabry runs back that way. So
yeah,
it was pretty cool. So watching Soto has been really fun. You
Yep.
know, never a dull moment.
Yep. He's having a
Other
great
positives.
start to his spring training.
Saw Stanton advance to second on a hit of some
It
kind,
didn't
like
injure his groin.
yeah,
or
and he was like running
hamstring
like an
or something?
athlete. Like, yeah, it was great to see. So that's a good positive. I think last year he would have firmly stopped at first base, and you know, like we keep saying, station to station. Last year there was no first to second,
Nope.
or first to third, or I'm sorry, home to second.
Or the one
Whatever.
time it was
God.
second to home, and he got tagged out
Yeah.
by 10 feet.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Just went. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a positive, especially because the start of this spring training has not been kind to him so far. Not injury wise, just he hasn't hit well.
No, but I think.
And again, it's so hard to tell. We talked about this so many times.
He's had some hits, so
yeah,
like looking better. So yeah, and he could be
it's always hard to tell because he could also be, that
working on something.
You know,
yeah, and he is.
I'm only going to be trying to hit sliders. You know, I'm not going to try to touch the fastball. I already know how to hit a fastball. I'm only going to.
Well, and he did change his stance a bit, so he's probably
working on that. Yeah,
he is still a bit closed off, so I don't know if he's working on trying to open up, but I don't know.
He's more relaxed. It looks like
he does. He is a lot more relaxed. I agree. Yeah,
he always looks like he had a lot of anxiety at the plate last year, like with just how much movement he was going. So Stanton looked good. I think. Rizzo's been incredible. Nothing come up recently, but I think Rizzo. We talked about last week. He had 2 home runs in a single game, and he's been looking pretty consistent. I think Waldo had a nice hit today, which is another person who's been struggling. And now that Peraza's officially confirmed not going to be starting the season off, we really need him to step up. We definitely have seen him play more of the infield too. I think early spring training, he was mostly rotating in the outfield and first base, and now we've seen him play. I think he did play first today, but since the Peraza news, he's played like third, short, second more frequently in those positions.
I can see that. Yeah, he's going to be the predominant infield backup, but you got Grisham in the outfield, and so
until they figure out who that guy is,
who's our fourth bench person. And I guess that'll come to light soon. But yeah, we've had some positive. I think before Monday morning, I think Yankee Land was feeling pretty good. Lots of excitement. We were all ready to get the season started. Crazy how much a night of news or a morning of news will dampen your day.
Yeah. Well, one more thing of positive because we forgot about it.
Yeah,
Wells.
sorry, I went back. Oh yeah, Wells.
Wells had
Yeah.
a bases clearing double, I think, today.
Yep. Yep.
And
Base
he had a
clearing
home run
double.
over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And Trevino is back, so catching, and he looked good. He had a home run in his game against the Braves.
Yeah. Yeah. Two
So
hits with a home run and some RBIs, obviously. And
yeah,
yeah, that was good. Good to see.
so
First game back, Trevino didn't lose his swing.
it'll be interesting over the next week and a half. Who proves himself to be the opening day starter at catcher, and who's going to prove to be the 60 on the
Right.
split between catchers. I still think it's Wells.
I
But
mean, I honestly think he deserves to be the starting catcher. Just like his swing is so nice, and with him being a lefty, him being in the lineup more often is probably for the best.
yeah,
I think if Trevino can be his 2022 self, or at least first half 2022, that's great for both of them to be
hmm
like that. I think Wells.
and Wells has
I don't
shown an
know.
arm too, which Trevino's really great with the glove. He's really good with obviously
Got him out
framing. He's
first
one of the
game.
best framing catchers in
Yeah.
the league. But yeah, Wells has showed off his arm the other day too. You got a Braves player, or maybe not a Braves player, one of the players, because
Caught
it was
stealing.
Trevino against the Braves. Yeah, he
Because I
caught a
think
guy
Trevino
caught
got a
stealing.
caught stealing. Yeah. Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Trevino did too. I know Wells did.
I thought I heard that or saw a post that said, yeah, first game back and Trevino.
All right. Well,
Go
so both
Wells.
of them are throwing people out on the base path, so that's good.
Yeah, don't run on our catchers, man.
So,
Yeah,
but
one catcher though that he doesn't need to be anywhere near our starting lineup is Rortvet. We had some fun. He's got a pop in his bat, but I don't know. Not that I'm angry at him, but like, wow, that was a bad look with the ball. Did you see the he like wild pitch or pass ball? I don't know, but it went to the backstop
oh yes, the
and
one where he could not find the ball.
yeah, they were playing the Mets, and like he couldn't find, and I guess also his teammates weren't helping him, and he couldn't find it either. But he's like looking all around right here, not bothering to turn around, and it's like it's back there. Boone was on the like doing an interview with whoever was
During the time.
John Flaherty or whoever was on. I don't remember who, but yeah. So it was like, oh, this
Yeah, I
is
did
not a
hear
good
about
look,
that. It's not a good
look.
look. Yeah, I mean, we have our
I'm sure he's
lefty.
a great guy. Yeah.
So
Right. And so it's like those two you'll hang out, I guess, in
AAA.
AAA some more. Unless we
So
trade you. I don't know.
yeah,
Anyone need catcher and we can get pitching? How about Chicago? They need everything, right? Can they just give us Dylan Cease?
yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice. So but yeah, so we do have lots of positives to think about. I think what's hilarious is that like last year offense was a problem. This year it looks like we solved that for the most part. We have our holes. Volpe swing nice and level, looking beautiful, stealing bases again.
Yep. Having fun.
So yeah,
he made a really good play too recently, like in the gap.
Were you talking about the one where he was like on the mic with Coney and he's like in the middle of a story and then he makes a play and he's like, all right, talk to you later, Coney. Like he didn't finish his story. Did you see that? That was funny.
No, I did not, but I know he made a really good play. Recently,
yeah, he's Gold Glover in that.
That's
for
all the Yankee fans who seem to hate him at shortstop.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
Who
maybe
keep
they'll stop
saying,
yelling about it now that Peraza's injured.
yeah, keep saying that he's got to play second base or something. But anyway, yeah. So good to finish off with some positives, especially after a kind of doom and gloom Monday.
Yeah, fingers crossed that Cole is just really in tune with his body and caught anything that might be in there very early, and we can get him back in a few weeks because he's really important to our rotation.
Before we sign off, I think we had talked about this in the beginning, beforehand, and then kind of going back to it with our dummies. We had talked about how we wanted to involve them more in because of why we call them the dummies. Obviously, Cliff is our dummy on the screen. We also have a dummy off screen, which is my wife, who doesn't know baseball either. I think she is 10 years behind Cliff in the learning curve. So she she has sent a couple of questions. One that came up with the game we went to a couple weeks ago as why are there I think it was like two questions about numbers. Why are there some players with really high numbers on the field, and why are there numbers on, like, when you see, I think there was an error and it said E6 or something like
Oh,
along those lines.
yeah,
Like, what
position.
does
Okay.
that mean? So maybe we can explain that quickly.
Yeah. Which one you want me to take? Take the
Uh,
position?
yeah,
I
how
don't
about you
know.
take the position, why the
Yeah,
numbers are high.
so yeah, so the positions are all so that we can do record keeping. You can score the game in a nice way. Every position has a number. So double play 3-6, 3-6-3, whatever. I don't know. That was bad. 4-6-3. That's what I was trying to say.
Yep.
4-6-3 double play means second to short to first
First.
base to get that out. So each position has a number. Pitcher is 1, catcher is 2, first is 3, second is 4, third is 5, short is 6, left is 7,
8.
center is 8, and right is 9.
Yep.
So if you see F9, that's fly out to right field. If you see pop out 1, or I'm sorry, pop out 2, or pop out 1, that catchers or pitchers rarely make plays, so you don't usually see pop out 1. Even if it's straight on the mound, they will get the hell out of the way and let somebody else catch it.
Yeah.
But
Too much gear going on.
yeah, pop out 2 would be the catcher caught it. Or like she saw E6, there was an error by the shortstop, and that
Yep.
person was safe at whatever bag.
Yep. So they
Probably
got
first.
an E6. So that's the number thing. It's so the reason that it was done too is, one, for the scorekeepers of the game. I think that's the main reason why it's done, for those who are taking stats for the game, like specifically,
Yeah, so you can,
especially back in the
shorthand,
day
write
when,
things down.
this is
Yeah.
America's oldest pastime of sports, played back all the way in the 1800s. So yeah, so back when there was no technology, you didn't have cameras or things to keep, live stats. They were all done in a book, and so it was a
Someone's
really
counting up how
easy,
many hits.
yep,
Yeah.
really easy way for them to do all that. And I remember even that they used to give, they still might, but they used to give out those cards
The book.
with
Oh
the
yeah, the
playbook in
scorecards.
it,
If you
scorecards
get
in
the
it.
program in the middle, there's a scorecard that
Yeah,
you
that you
can
can take it and
do the game. Yeah.
I think Dad used to teach me how to do it with. We also had
Yeah,
like a baseball game at the house that he taught me how to do it with, and did it at the baseball
yeah. During
field.
the
And
dynasty years, I actually just found a bunch of them. I opened a
it's so
folder up
cool
when
to
I
be
was
able to,
clearing out
like,
my office, and I was like, oh wow, look, I used to
yeah,
score the games while I was watching them on TV, and yeah.
yeah, and it's a fun way
Um,
of remembering how the game went too. Like, that's a lot of how a lot of people did it back in the day. It's not done as much now, and I think probably because
Well,
of
I
technology
mean,
being available, and you
Michael
can,
Kay or Brian Hoke, they all keep a scorebook during the game so
yeah,
that they can refer back to it. I mean, it's a way to record it on paper live. So,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
Uh,
that's what that is for. And then the high numbers is pretty much more of a Yankee thing.
yeah, I mean,
There are
if it's
some
any
other
other
teams that
team,
have the issues
yeah.
too, but the Yankees have, what, 20 numbers, 26 numbers that are retired,
Oh, yeah,
including
that
all the
makes,
single digits, and we're down to like a handful of
yeah. 11 is the lowest
teams.
number, and Volpe
Well,
got it because
0
he's supposed.
technically is the
Oh,
lowest.
true. I always forget about 0.
Yeah,
Zero's been kind of a newer,
newer number.
modern.
It wasn't around for a long time, so that's the
Yeah,
new single digit available,
0. So
held by
that's
Marcus
cool.
Stroman.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, usually it just signifies somebody from the minor leagues. Judge kind of, like I think you were saying, Judge changed that. Judge has 99,
yeah,
I
and
think
there's some players now too that are keeping the number that they first came in with. For
because
example,
yeah.
Oswaldo Cabrera. I don't know
Is
if
he
he was
95,
offered.
I
Yeah,
think?
he's 95. He wasn't. I don't know if he was offered a new number or not, but he stuck with
Yeah.
95. Whereas like Volpe came in with 77 and dropped
And
down to 11. So that's kind of what it is. Is I think Jeter came in with like 86,
I
and
know it was high. Yeah.
Torrey said we need to give him the
We need
single
something better.
digit.
Yeah, Yeah, and that was back when I started watching baseball, and that's just how it was then. If you were, minor league invite to a camp, you were surely getting something in the 80s. But with how many people, how many times we've retired, and now with Judge I feel like making those high numbers kind of cool.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So yeah, now it's kind of a mixed bag. But usually if you see a number in the 80s and it's not like a double 88, those are popular too now. 77.
Yeah, Luis Robert from Chicago wears 88. And I think Austin Wells also wears 88.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I have to get used to the higher numbers to try to, for whatever reason, they're a little harder for me to remember. I don't know why, but yeah, I'll get used to it. It's fine.
But, and one more question. I haven't asked it yet, but one more question she sent is, it was actually from this podcast where she was in the other room listening in. She asked, what does Phantom IL mean? So I think it's actually a pretty good question. That
is a pretty good question. Yeah. Did you want to take it?
Sure. So a normal IL is when a player, let's say we visibly watch him run through a wall and break his toe. That player gets put on the IL for, I think they have a 10-day IL, a 15-day IL, and a 60-day IL. It's injured list is what IL stands for. So teams put these players on, put them there so that they're not dropping down to the major or to AAA. They're not being DFA'd because they get hurt.
They don't have to take up a roster spot or anything,
so that somebody else can fill in.
We'll put you over here for a minute while you're injured,
while you're recovering, and then you'll be back. So Phantom IL is basically it's illegal.
Not
the
official.
Mets actually got in trouble for this. I think did their coach get fined or?
On Thursday, former general manager Billy Epler resigned amid New York Post report that he was under league investigation for improper uses of the injured list.
Which is hilarious because the Yankees are the most notorious for doing this, but it didn't come to them.
The Yankees do it. Every team does it. I mean,
every team does it.
And funnily, when a player hates it, sometimes players hate it when this happens because it's usually a Phantom IL will come up when they're struggling and we can't figure out why. And now you can't be sent down,
right?
Without
because
being
you get DFA'd,
and you're not going to do that to Rodon.
Right.
So yeah,
a big example of this was Josh Donaldson last year. So Josh Donaldson was our $28 million man who absolutely was awful at third base. He was even at this point making errors, which is one of the reasons we got him. He was hitting like $150, which is really bad. That's like hitting a ball 15% of the time. That's
it's bad.
Half of what MVP. You should be around.
Yeah.
So he couldn't figure things out. So they sent him on the 60-day IL for a hamstring issue, I believe.
Hamstring or calf maybe
issue.
One of
and
each. And
3 days later, he was seen taking fielding practice
and
batting practice.
Perfectly fine.
So that's what the Phantom IL is that
like
they...
Why? Yeah, and why is only the Mets GM getting in trouble for this?
Because again, I feel like wouldn't be surprising if the Yankees got in trouble because Donaldson was pretty much vocal about it too. Like, didn't he even say that they're trying to? Last year they said they're trying to Jacob Ellsbury me.
Yes,
which Jacob Ellsbury was infamous for basically being Phantom IL'd like for his entire career. Near the end until he retired. I mean, he was an injury-prone person, but near the end, they were basically like, no, dude, you're just permanently on the 60-day IL.
There was like, so I knew it. I knew it had come out with all of this too. AJ Pierzynski went on the IL at one point with anal fissures.
Yep.
And there was another. And so sometimes they'll let you choose. They'll be like, you just
gross.
Yeah. I mean, AJ Pierzynski, this is
it was
on
a one way
to
troll the team.
Exactly. That's exactly what he was trying to do. And like
he was mad about it, and that was his way of
getting back at him, I guess. Who was it? What did we
had a guy who basically had a testicular issue.
Yeah.
Wasn't it him, or was it? There's somebody on the team
Well,
had it.
no, it's just a groin. Everybody has a groin. Is that
Well,
what
yeah,
you're talking about?
no, but there was a player
clear.
whose was.
Oh, okay.
Something
I'm forgetting that.
Yeah, it may not have been Nestor, but
Nestor had a groin injury last year, and everyone was making fun of it. It was like, of course, Nasty Nestor has a groin injury, and I was like, but that could be, maybe he did pick that for that reason, but it's like it's just a muscle down.
Yes, no, there was one that was an actual and it was like as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh boy, that's fake.
Oh, wasn't it Donaldson again? Didn't he get cut by a toy?
I thought that was it him who got cut by a toy?
I think for Christmas present, he got cut or something.
Trevor Bauer infamously actually got cut by his. That one wasn't a fake one. That was a drone.
Yeah, and kind of
he was playing with
in the playoffs.
Yeah, he was playing with a drone, and the rotors on it started spinning and actually sliced his finger. And we all know it's real because he showed it on his YouTube page because that's what Trevor Bauer does.
Yes, yes. I'm pretty sure it was Josh Donaldson because I remember going, "Are you serious?"
It could have been. I mean, Josh Donaldson was injured frequently, and he was not quiet.
Josh Donaldson cut his thumb while putting something together at home with his daughter, so it kept him from hitting. They kept him out of the lineup, and I feel like he was out of the lineup, and everyone was like, "Just stay home with your daughter. It's best to do that.
Yeah,
we wouldn't want to get in the way of spending time with your daughter."
Yeah. Wasn't there another one where, I mean, this one wasn't fake, but didn't he have to go on paternity leave for?
Yes, and we did better.
And we also
on paternity leave.
And we also were like, "Hey, just stay home with your kid, dude."
It's the best for you to spend time with baby.
Yeah. So anyway, that's basically Phantom IL. Is basically where the team sees that you're struggling. You don't have an option. Either you're a veteran or you are somebody we're not looking to. They probably don't have an option left anymore because they are a veteran, whatever. And the only way to drop them is to cut them, like we did with Aaron Hicks last year, like we eventually did with Josh Donaldson. But until they are ready to make that decision, they Phantom IL you. Like, for example, Oswaldo Cabrera last year got sent down eventually because he had an option left. Had he not had an option left, they would have come up with some injury for him to...
Well, and usually it's for a player that, like, they might just DFA a player like Oswaldo. Like, if they're like, look, you can't figure it out and you're not fixing yourself, they probably just DFA a player like Oswaldo. But a player like Josh Donaldson, who earns the respect of not being waived or, I use that term loosely, earns that respect for him. But, former MVP, he's been in the league he's a veteran. He's been in the league for a long time. Rodon is a veteran, and he's being paid a lot of money. So, like, before you DFA someone, you give them the chance to, like, figure themselves out and, let's put you on the IL so you can go take some games in AAA and kind of reset. Right. I'm sure, I don't think they've done it to Stanton much. I think he gets injured often enough on his own. But I wouldn't be surprised if sometimes they do it to him too.
All right, I'm not crazy.
Was it a testicular thing?
Yep. Mitch Haniger suffers a ruptured testicle, and Jose Abreu also used testicular torsion as injuries.
I mean, what if that did happen? That's awful.
I mean, it could have.
Gross.
It could have, but they, Jose Abreu was even asked about it, and he said, "Yeah, the doctors did a very good job. They saved my testicle."
Oh, all right. Well, thank goodness.
So,
yeah. Sometimes, I mean, who knows? Maybe that's real. And that's sometimes you don't know with these Phantom IL stuff. Like, is that real? Is it not? And if it comes at a convenient time.
Yeah, if they've been struggling for a while, it's probably Phantom IL.
Yeah.
Like, I think we've used a lot of examples, but Chapman, fell or something.
Yeah.
And
it fell and just like hit his face or something. But he got into a bar fight. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an athlete, but I fall and I just don't put my arms out to
catch myself,
to brace myself, like every human does.
So, and there was like something else with him too that had come up. Where it was just
he got like a tattoo infection.
Tattoo infection. That's
like,
what it was.
The timing on that one felt, because that was like right before the playoffs. So if that was like,
well, wasn't that just before we basically told him not to show back up? Or
that was I thought not that was as close as I'm remembering, but it was like you just came off the IL because you had a tattoo infection, and now you're not showing up to practice for the playoffs. Okay.
Yeah, and basically they said goodbye, and I thought that the part of the reason why is because he was mad about being Phantom IL'd. But I could be wrong there. But
I just feel like using that is like obvious, but I don't know. Sometimes they're not worried about the Phantom IL stuff, which is again why I'm so surprised, and everybody is surprised that the Mets
were the ones who got in trouble.
Out. Yeah,
and I wonder if they're going to reveal which player it was. Did a player say something? Was it just
maybe players complained or multiple players? And
so I don't know. But anyway,
who knows? Well, good question, Laura Grace.
Yes, because I think that's probably even one that a lot of other people don't know what that means when they hear it. I don't know if Cliff knew what Phantom IL was, unless because we complained about it so much throughout last year. But
yeah, I mean, between context clues and I mean, knowing what IL meant.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, I think that wraps up our podcast for this week. Follow us and subscribe to our YouTube and Spotify channels, whichever you listen to us. And thank you for listening to us, each and every week, for those that do. But yes, follow us there. Hit those subscribe buttons so you can keep updated there. And then follow us. Cliff does a really good job of putting up a lot of posts throughout the week. And so if you follow us on Instagram, Threads, X, otherwise known as Twitter, at @DamnYanks_pod. If you follow us there, you get to see some of these shorter clips as well. So hit the follow button on those, and then on Facebook it's @DamnYanksPod. So keep up to date with us. So again, thanks for watching.
Yep. See ya.
See ya. It's not see you yet.
See you now. Another time. Alligator.
Oh, it's doing it again.
Oh no.
Oh no.
There it goes.
Hey!